So welcome back to the solo show. So just letting you know, after talking to my buddy about ASMR and how we both kind of just basically like fucking watch ASMR before we sleep, he's like, "Yo, bro, we watch enough of this, and you have a platform. Why don't you just do some ASMR, man?" I'm like, you know what? Maybe I will. Maybe I should. So you know what? I'm just gonna do like a little pilot thing, informal, maybe ASMR channel on top of the podcast solo show, and now maybe new ASMR content. So kind of a lot of things at the same time. It's so funny, man, because I kind of want to do everything. I don't have a particular goal, and I know that's really bad for like a lot of different things. And I like, you're kind of supposed to have like a focus and like kind of do that. But it's because I'm so scatterbrained sometimes. I'm like, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. I just want to do everything. And you know what? I think that strategy is going to bite me in the ass. But I decide just to fucking do everything. Do what I want. And see where I go from there, man. And it's really weird. I'm a weird guy. And as I can tell, I actually write a script before recording the show. So I don't just like spitball all this other stuff. I have kind of like some basic talking points and a basic script that I follow. it's really weird because I don't have a particular like niche or goal in mind with this whole content creation business thing, channel thing. I just want to do it because I want to do it. Yeah, I don't have a particular goal in mind. I don't have a particular like niche that I want to target, like a target niche that that I want to target. I just want to create content and see where that goes from there. See if it adds value, to people that way. It's funny because it's like against business school 101. You know that thing. It's like, okay, go identify yourself a market. Okay, here's this big multi-billion-dollar market. Now focus it down to your target market, then your target niche, and find kind of the valuation of your target niche, right? Let's say you want to sell. I don't know. Like, let's say you want to sell, jiu-jitsu courses to Yu-Gi-Oh players because they want the fucking, you want bullies to take your cards or whatever it is, right? Then you can kind of identify that, like that specific market for that type of people and kind of see if it's worth it, like, hey, is it a $10 million market, $20 million valuation? And if it is it even kind of viable to go in that direction? And I kind of already broke the first rule of, business 101 in that sense, where it is, find yourself a target niche, and I don't fucking have one. It kind of just grew, you know what I mean? Like I didn't choose the target niche, like it just kind of happened organically. Like I was looking at the podcast, and it's like a large portion of males, like 80% of males who actually live mostly in the States listen to my shit. It's it's like from like ages 23 to like 35, that kind of range of like males living in the States that like listen to my podcast, and a couple females specifically in Hong Kong, I think, that listen to my stuff. So it's interesting. It's interesting. I didn't create this market. I don't even know. Dude, if you ask me to like kind of describe like who listens to my podcast, I couldn't even tell you. The only thing I can tell you is like kind of the origin, like U.S. and kind of the age range. Other than that, I don't know their lifestyles. I don't know their political beliefs. I don't know their economics beliefs. I don't even know what they do. I don't even know if they work out or not, or do martial arts, or you know what I mean, or like are graduates or whatever. The only thing I know is just their age and where they live. So, yeah, I broke business school entrepreneurship 101, man. But yeah, and to be honest, it's like I don't know if if it was their intention or not, but it was never like, when I was learning about entrepreneurship in business school, so it was never really about it wasn't really about kind of like the passion or the project or the type of things. It kind of just set off the precedent for me that it was just like, okay, go identify the market with the most amount of potential for growth, which it makes sense, man. You're running a business, right? Like the goal of business is to make money at the end of the day. And without a business that makes money, it's not a business. It's a hobby, or I don't know what it is, right? It's a hobby, right? And I get that, but I don't know, man. It didn't sit right with me, right? Like I thought like I see entrepreneurship and business as a kind of like a pathway to changing the world for the better in this case. But the way that they taught it, man, it just put a bad taste in my mouth. And when I was going through this program, it was just the blind leading the blind, essentially. We had people who are accountants that never had a business in their entire life teach us about entrepreneurship. It's like, what the hell? Like, it was weird. It was really weird. Yeah, and I didn't like that. But not to bash on the university that I went to, but they actually did teach me applicable skills. There was a program called Technical Entrepreneurship that I was a part of. It's a year-long program. And it basically put business students, economic students, and mechatronic students together. And it was an interesting program because it was actually like a building a real-world business in the span of a year. So this was gotten from, getting investors money, to maximize the budget, to creating, a brand, a value proposition, and an actual product that you can technically take to market after some iterations. And it was really cool because, it gave me the first, access to investors, and they're fucking assholes. These you know how there's like always one person, like just like in the back of your mind, like you kind of went through some shit that kind of just ruined like your experience or something, or that kind of put a really bad taste in your mouth because they're such assholes. Yeah, I had this one guy, a fucking asshole. So we were presenting, and he came in late, and all the judges were cool. Like we're talking about, here's our idea, here's this other, and here's our target market. And you know what he did? This fucking guy just destroyed me. He's like, you talk too fast. And I all I said was like, thank you to the lovely Sarah for helping me out. And she's like, that's sexist. Like, lovely isn't like a sexist term. And I'm like, oh, this is the type of people that I have to pitch to on a basis. So I wanted to talk to, the individual that I called lovely, and she's like, hey, look, I didn't care. I thought it was very flattering. I wasn't offended, and you talk too fast. And I'm like, okay. I can never really get over that talking too fast thing is kind of built into me. I've been trying so hard to improve in it. And funny enough, I have a podcast where maybe I do talk a bit fast. But yeah, like I said, I've been trying to actively improve it, but that just left a bad taste in my mouth, man. I mean, yeah, it's like this, super PC culture, and you have to be super proper in presenting to investors. And I get it; it's their money, right? And that's the issue about this whole thing is that when you're pitching, it's like you're being a bitch to someone else, and it's like hey, you're begging for money. This is the kind of the way that I felt after all of this, and we're having some reflection about the entire program was saying, hey, look, I don't have money to fund this fucking $1,000, $1 million project or whatever it is. I'm gonna go to the investors and I'm basically gonna be like, hey, look, man, please, like, here's this really good idea. Just invest a couple thousand, take a good portion of my business, or take profit for everything that I sell, right? And it's I don't know, man. And like you're basically under the foot of that investor, essentially. It's just give you a yes or a no, and he can shit all over your idea. What we were taught in like business school and this tech program was that you don't want to fucking argue with the investor because he's the one that has the money. He's the one that has the leverage. Like he can just shit all over your idea, and you don't really want to defend yourself. You kind of want to be like, yeah, okay, I'm the bigger person. I'm gonna, listen to this advice, whether it's true or not, because only really you, the person who's creating this business, knows the market. Unless that individual who's the investor is in that same market and obviously has been there longer than you. Realistically speaking, like you are in the trenches in that market, so you kind of understand the nuances and the works. It's just that when like motherfuckers come in who have no idea what you're doing and then they just bash all your work, it's like, it's demoralizing, man. I fucking hate that. Which is why I don't really ever want to go back into tech entrepreneurship. I don't think it's for me. It's cool to kind of see on the side only, really, you know what I mean? Like, I like watching Marcus Brown League. I like watching the shit on Techtober where, new tech is announced. Like Project Hazel with the mask. It's really cool. It's like really good if you want to go for raves because it's like an M95 mask or whatever it is. Like a really good protective mask that's able to, have it's basically meant to be super comfortable and you're able to talk very clearly in it, so the noises aren't muffled when you're wearing a mask. Stuff like that. I like keeping up from tech from the side, but yeah, yeah, man. I mean, just those investors, meeting a couple of them, it's just a bad taste in my mouth. And yeah, I mean, looking back, man. I mean, there. First of all, when I was 21 at the time, 22, 21, yeah, 2021. I was an idiot. Like, looking back 5 years from now, being who I was, it's like, yeah, you're an entirely different person than you were, X amount of years ago. But just even looking back, it's like, yeah, it just left a bad taste in my mouth, man. I mean, this one time we had what's it called? Opportunity Fest. So basically, a whole bunch of teams got together and they presented an idea, not necessarily like an actual working prototype or anything like that, just an idea of like a business. Now, whether that business can, become valid or whether there's a proper execution plan is kind of like 50-50, but mostly it's just on the idea. Like, cool, you have some good ideas, but I think what really matters is the execution, which is kind of what a lot of people teach. So we had, I mean, in my opinion, we had like actually like a physical product, right? And it was just, and we didn't win the competition. We didn't even win second place, third or fourth. Like, everyone in the cohort won except for us. So, and that just put a bad taste in my mouth, man. I mean, we had a working prototype, and we actually had some active like users, but you know what? Sometimes things don't go your way, right? And you know what? All those things, like, it may sound like I'm bitching about it, but I'm actually not. Like, this is like all these different things I'm trying to like take in together as a lesson, right? Everything is a lesson. I shouldn't be angry at the program, and I'm not angry at the program. I'm actually very happy that I went through the whole shit that I went through, and came out at the end of it and learned so much more about myself. That number one, I'm too fast for investors, and I'm too fast to speak for typical tech entrepreneurs. It's not something that I want to do. And number two, it's good to have a practical plan and a practical business. But number three is find a target market. And that was kind of what was drilled in my head. Just trying to narrow down the market, trying to find that target market. But in this podcast and in this, kind of content creation journey that I'm going on, I don't really have one. I haven't created one. I didn't create it like a typical customer profile. No, I just did me, right? Yeah, I just love to create content because I want to, and starting this podcast has made me so happy that I'm doing it, because it's a love, it's a passion, right? Just to talk to cool individuals, like, every single time, talk about a variety of different topics all the time, from entrepreneurs to mental health advocates to people in political power, and talking about how shit Trudeau is, to comedians, right? And it's so cool because it's my own thing, and I'm proud of that. For the first time in my life, I've created something from the ground up, created my own brand, and looking back, I'm just happy at the work that I do. And there are some cases where, like, people come up to me and say, "Hey man, why are you interviewing this incel?" I'm like, because there's no, like, I won't say good representation, but there's no proper representation that I can find about inceldom. Maybe there's one about, I keep mentioning Jubilee. There's like one video in Jubilee where it's like, hey, meet an incel. But every single one of these people that came on this, this to interview them, they always had an agenda. They had like 20 questions planned in the back of their head, trying to kind of, have a gotcha moment without truly understanding them. And that's not something that I want to advocate for. I like to advocate, for a true understanding of the position and why does one adopt such position, right? Is there merit in that position? I mean, there's merit in pretty much most, if not every argument, but I want to understand why the argument's made, or why, right? Like, not just judge and think that I'm right and try to have a gotcha moment, because I don't know. I don't like that. I'm not down with that. But yeah, what was I talking about now? Yeah, so back to it. So I don't have a target market, and I don't really care for one, because I think the value that I'm putting out there is universal, I hope. to anyone listening. And this is why my podcast is so loosely structured. I always hate it when people like guess beforehand always ask me, what do you want to talk about? Those words, what do you want to talk about? I love it when guests tell me, hey, let's just shoot the shit. I'm like, fuck it, I love it. Because I think that's where the most organic conversations come from, where it's just you just talking about whatever you want to talk about with the other person, and then it morphs into like kind of a really interesting conversation from there on out. There are obviously like instances like where I like, if say I'm working with a person with a specific book coming out, where I'm going to talk about that specific book only and kind of, narrow the conversation to that book. But if I'm just talking to someone who I just think has a cool story, I want to know them as an individual, know their backstory, know what they believe in, know if they like, jujitsu, know if they like riding motorcycles, right? Or if they like anime. Get to know them as a person, right? And I think that's I think we're slowly taking, that away and just seeing, people or individuals as employees or as their job title, like, oh, say entrepreneur. Like, cool. I don't care about that. I want to know, who you are, right? Yeah. And this is why it's so loosely structured. Like, I want to get to know you. I want to understand you, your experiences. And I just find it so much more interesting than like trying to debate someone, like and just having these got you moments. It's I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of debates in general, to be honest. I mean, like sometimes when you watch these Politicon debates, I'm like, cool. He has a point and he has a point. Maybe meet in the middle. I'm not smart enough to know how to solve certain issues like homelessness. Like I'm not gonna go up there and pretend like I'm this like political commentator that like knows how to solve homelessness or how to fix the Canadian healthcare system or international relations or what the fuck is it? The Iran or how to solve the Iran nuclear, like whether or not countries should go into the Iran nuclear deal or whatever the fuck it is. Like no, I don't know shit about that, man, and I don't pretend to know. Yeah, and this is why I don't like just like the typical like debate structure, man. It's very me against you, right? It's like not just like it kind of takes away from the thing. It's like your ideas versus the opponent's ideas. It's like you as a person and their ideas versus myself and my own ideas. You know what I mean? It's like kind of attacking the identity because we've kind of put like certain ideas with certain identities now. And I don't know, man. I think it's just I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. Which is why I think like Jubilee's done a really good job of this, where it's just they have a series called Middle Ground, where in the middle of the field, like in the middle of the two, kind of opposing groups, there's like a bunch of chairs you can sit down in. And the moderator would always ask a certain amount of like a certain question. Then the two opposing sides would come down, and if they agree with that statement, wow, fuck. Sorry. Yeah, and if they agree with that statement, then they would come in and they would just talk about, this like that common ground, but then have their own opinions behind it as to, why they believe certain things. And I think that's good because it starts with like a common ground, then you build up from there, and you're able to have a much more friendlier, it's like a better, more constructive conversation rather than just kind of like opposing views. I don't know. I'm not a fan of like just like debates like that. It's so funny, man. It's like it's like seeing political commentators like online, and I always ask myself, like, for political commentators, why the fuck do you do this? Like, why did you ever decide to say, hey, look, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel, put on a suit or whatever it is, I don't know why, or like whatever, or, and just go on the internet and talk about politics all day? Like, no. If you want to just have white hairs, you get into political commentary. Like, if you want to have people shitting on your Twitter, or if you want people shitting on your IG or just your socials, do political commentary. But here's the best part: if you want to be successful at it, you take extreme sides, right? Like, you can go for the super conservative, right wing side, or you can kind of go to the super left leaning side as well, right? I mean, yeah, it's just like, why would you do this? Like, you have to consistently be in argumentative mode. You have to pretend like you know everything, which you don't, and then you need to have an opinion a variety of different topics which none of the experts even have an opinion on. It's like, what the fuck? Like, who are you to tell me what to do? Okay, you have a sociology degree. How can you tell me about criminal law with a sociology degree, right? Like criminal law in detail, when someone who's done criminal law can't tell you, certain things, right? Like, it's like you expected to know everything about every topic, and that's the issue I have with like a lot of these political commentators, is that there's no diffusion of knowledge with these fucking assholes. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, there was a podcast specifically about, for this doctor interviewing people, in the medical field, and he's talking about vaccines. And ultimately, I think one of the guests said, like, they don't even know if masks are effective against COVID-19. Well, you have this, they don't know, right? There's not enough evidence, apparently, from what I've garnered from that interview with the medical person that actually studies this. See, I'm a dumbass. I don't even know, right? I don't even fucking know, like, the individual's, like, occupation or credibility to talk about this. Then you got these political commentators who are, like, so definite on their answers about things. It's like, hey, the minimum wage should be this. We should construct our economy like this. We should, be doing this to, help help with, reducing COVID-19, whatever it is. And it's like, how do you have such strong opinions, strong, definite answers when the experts in those fields don't actually know themselves? I don't know. It's just, and this is what pisses me off about these political commentators. You're expected to know everything. Why can't you just say, like, look, I don't fucking know, right? Like, I have some basic ideas, but I can't know enough to give a certain, policy prescription or tell you to think in a specific direction. It's I don't know, man. It's like, and that's why I don't like listening to some of these people. It's because you're expected to know everything, but in reality, you're not. There's only so much knowledge you can do, and there's only so much of one topic that you can talk about before you sound like a fucking idiot. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I will never get into political commentary, man. This is not my thing, man. Like, if I want to live my life, man, like, I don't want to just go on my phone and just see people fucking making fun of me or bashing my views or whatever it is, right? No, man. I want to enjoy myself and the content that I produce, man. It's why I like, listening to certain people that are very apolitical. Like, my buddy told me about Lex Friedman. I'm like, yo, at the beginning, I'm like, yeah, I'll listen to you. I just didn't do it for the longest time. I think it was until he interviewed Sagar and Jetty, and he like, Lex is very good at this, where he just doesn't have a political affiliation. He just wants to know, like, why people are in power and what brings them to do shitty things, and that's for me also very interesting. Like, what garners someone to rise up to power? What garners someone to be like, fucking Stalin and just say, I'm gonna fucking kill millions and millions of people, right? That's much more fascinating to me than just this divisive left to right, lefty bread tuber, conservative, progressive conservative, libertarian, kind of camps, right? I don't know. Like, it's just, I'm not a fan of it. But analyzing people who have been in a position of power to do such evil things, it's like, now that's more interesting in my opinion. I want to know why this person did what this person did, and just get into the why and into their minds. And it's cool. It's cool to understand, because we can, I guess, under the right circumstances, we can all most of us can kind of be like that person who we call evil. Just under the right circumstances and under the right amount of environmental influence. And it's very, very fucking scary when you really make that realization that we can be that evil person that we're condemning. Yeah. All right, what else is there? Okay, so you know what? Let's just switch entirely. Let's just switch the entire gear over, and let's just talk about some light-hearted shit. Like, enough of these political pundits. Like, as you can tell, like, you already know that I don't like listening to them because they think they know everything, or there's an expectation that they should know everything about a certain topic, when in reality that's just not the case. You can't have that. Yeah. Okay. I mean, wow. I'm just gonna move my legs a bit. Okay, there you go. All right, so let's talk some lighthearted shit. So, who like? Hopefully, you guys watch Love Island. If you haven't watched Love Island, it's it's a ridiculous trash reality TV show. So if you're bored and if you want something to laugh at, Love Island is definitely like a thing that I recommend everyone watch. And my brother just recently got into Love Island, so just letting you know, my brother's been kind of trying to navigate the dating market, and he likes to analyze good-looking people. I mean, who doesn't, right? Good-looking people have lots of girls. They get lots of girls. They usually live pretty cool lives, and some of them, speaking, and they have a crazy gym etiquette. So good on him for analyzing what they do. And I caught him watching Love Island in the US. It's funny because like my reaction was like because I never expected him to watch a show like this. He's very into wealth building and financial analyst stuff, market watching. So he's not like, I didn't really see him as the person to watch trash reality TV. So like when I came home one day and I saw him watching Love Island, it's like watching your brother like just pull up their pants when they're fucking pulling one off. It's like whoa. I didn't see that. Like, what the hell? You're watching Love Island? Yeah, it was a shock. Yeah, and then we started talking about it, and then he was just telling me how he was just analyzing the body language of some of them, the charisma, the confidence when talking to women, the style, everything, and even their haircut. And I gotta say, it was very cool to kind of like learn and listen to that, because it's they all have a common trait. They're fucking built and jacked as fuck, and they're very very charismatic. That's kind of like the common things I see about a lot of these, like the men on Love Island, is that you're good looking and you have crazy charisma. People, you got that energy that can kind of just like pull you in, like, oh, this guy's a really good person to talk to. Just that smile, the energy, style. Yeah, something about that just pulls girls in and just talks to them. It's a really cool show. Yeah. All right, so to kind of just give you a synopsis of what the fuck I'm talking about, just in case you don't watch Love Island. So, it's basically a bunch of pretty good-looking guys and girls on an island trying to find love. It's originally a British TV show, but now it's just had other spin-offs like Love Island Australia to now like Love Island the US. Yeah, like I said, it's basically trash reality, and it's hella pristine entertainment. So definitely watch it. So how I got into Love Island was because I don't even know, like, you know how YouTube like recommends like these really fucked up like weird videos that you don't even expect. It's like a video created 9 years ago and has like 20 million views and it's like 39 seconds long. It's kind of like one of those moments. So I was scrolling through YouTube, and for the For You page, one of them was Love Island season 6 episode 1. Now I always want to watch it because I know a couple girls that recommend to watch the show. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch Love Island UK season 6 episode 1. Episode 1, should be kind of like a way to get me into the show. And what happened was that there was a brown guy on the show. There's a fucking Indian guy on the show. Now, for those who don't know, Indian people aren't necessarily seen in the media, like especially Western media, as like, sexy hot dudes. They're kind of seen as IT workers or kind of, funny, like comedic characters, like let's just say Kumar from Harold and Kumar, or Apu, or the brown, who's that brown guy? But yeah, the brown guy, the Indian male from The Big Bang Theory. That's kind of like what you think of initially as you think of an Indian character, but that's obviously changing now because with Marvel's Eternals, Kumail Nanjiani looks like a fucking jacked steroid beast. So I'm glad that the narrative is slowly changing about that. But like really initially, like you have a lot of these kind of typical Indian male roles in Hollywood, but now to see like a brown guy on a dating show full of chads and good-looking people, I was like, oh right, I like this. This is very interesting. How can I explain kind of this inspiration? It's like It's like when Kamala Harris was voted as the VP, and everyone was kind of like a woman, brown or black or Latino or a person of color. I hate that phrase, but yeah, someone who's not white felt inspired that they can do it because she did it. She was able to rise to one of the highest positions in power in the country or in the world, and it kind of gives inspiration that okay, as long as if someone like her can do it, despite whatever she's done, but as long as a person that like her has the ability to become the VP of the United States, then people like me who look like me, who have the same skin color as me, who are also women, have that shot as well. So there's that. Like I used to believe in that, like especially with politics, but now I don't even give a fuck because what I like more besides the way they look is their policies, right? I mean that should be very important. And yeah, just because someone looks like me doesn't mean they represent like what I believe in, right? In terms of how to run a functioning like country. But then again, what do I know? I'm an idiot. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. It's weird because I never had that self-limiting belief. Like when she became president. Oh wow, president. There was a bunch of my friends posting, the like on their stories. It's like she has broken the glass ceiling, as a woman of color, doing this. She's an influential figure because of this, and this. And I'm like, okay, but do you know what her policies are? Are you happy solely because of how she looks? Or are you happy because of what she stands for? And like, okay, let's say that, I don't know, I would be very ashamed of myself if that's what people looked at me as. Let's say I did become a person in a position of political power. Like, I'd be very sad when I see on Instagram, like, people praising me, not because of my policies or what I've done, but about how I look. It's like, is that all you see me as, is how I look? When are we gonna get past this idea, of how someone looks, and looking at it into a deeper level of what their policies are and how they run and how they're gonna run the country? I don't know. I'd feel very sad at myself if that was the message that was just coming out, was because you look like this, therefore I voted for you. Not because of what you believe for. Not because of what you believe in, or not because of your policies. But hey, you know what? That's just me. I like to look at their ideas and their politics, not how they look like. So I never really had that self-limiting belief where it's like, you can't do this because you're X person, or you look like this or whatever. I just never had that belief because I was always taught at a younger age that you can do anything you put your mind to. Literally, right? You live in this amazing country where you have the opportunity to do so many great things. Don't put that self-limiting belief in yourself. But I think somewhere along the way it happens, right? There's enough naysayers in the world, and there's you get bombarded with like racial instances in the media, and you kind of just have that self-limiting doubt, right? And for me, I've had that for a couple years, but now I just said fuck it. Like, if someone like Joe Rogan can do a whole variety of stuff and still kind of be, happy and content with his life, then why can't I do that, right? I've seen so many entrepreneurs who are of immigrant background, who are Asian, who are Indian, Pakistani, and they fucking killed it, right? So if they can do it, then why can't I? So yeah, I don't have that self-limiting belief based on my race. No, I'm not playing that game. But it's so funny because it's like so the reason why I brought this up, funny, the whole irony behind this is that yeah, like it's because there's a brown guy on season 6 of Love Island. And it's weird how I find that one brown guy more of an inspiration than someone becoming the VP of the United States or a party leader in Canada. For those who don't know the party leader in Canada, I'm talking about Jagmeet Singh, the NDP party leader. I mean, it's weird. Like, this fucking idiot on Love Island is for me serves so much more of an inspiration than than the other two people that I mentioned. It might be because he's a good-looking male, and it's always been like a goal of mine to be like a top tier good-looking male who is good with ladies. But then again, I'm also taken, so can't complain. And it's just, it's just a much more relatable, kind of figure for me. Okay, anyways, ever since I saw him like walking out the door, I was just very hooked. Like, it's so funny, but it's like you put like the best looking people, but also the dumbest looking people, like the dumbest people on the island, and obviously it creates drama because there are instances in the show where like the guys would like hook up the girls, or the girls would hook up with other guys. Then like once you have like an official couple, they would like take you over to like an island where they would tempt you with like 6 new guys or 6 new girls or whatever it is to try to kind of cheat on the couple, right? If you come back to the island, then guess what? Like, you're good to go. You're a couple. But it's on like every day, and it's just drama after drama, and it's a great show. Yeah, the one moment they say I love you, the next thing you know, they go to Casa Amor, which, as I said, that temptation island. And they give the incentive to cheat, and it's so funny because it's for the ratings, right? And like I said, it's trash reality TV. I'm just gonna pull this up real quick. Just the fucking just to show you what I'm talking about, right? In terms of like the Indian guy on like Love Island season 6. His name is Nas, by the way. Let's just see here. Love Island season 6. Episode 1, UK. Oh, there you go. Perfect. Let's just pull this up here. So I think you can play like a couple seconds of the clip because it ends up becoming copyright. So let's just take a look.
It's Nas.
All right.
That's what I was expecting.
It's just like, he has like the short shorts just coming out of the fucking, it's like it's usually coming out of the fucking, like blanket or whatever it is, out of the curtain, and he's just walking with his shirt off with like short shorts and the white sneakers. All right, guess you guys get the point. What a great show that is. Which kind of ties it back. I guess it kind of ties everything back. So there was this thing I was looking up on OkCupid, and it showed that Asian men are rated the least attractive, or at least have the least amount of swipes. Now, I always wondered why like Asian men always had like the least amount of swipes on online dating, and is it the way like kind of these Asian men were portrayed in the media? Is it the way Indian men are portrayed in the media? And I was just kind of doing some Google search about, typical, like, about, Indian people. And one of the things that came up was Indian people on Facebook. And what that would be was that, like, you just have, like, creepy Indian men messaging girls, telling them you're sexy. It's like, hey, sexy, show me bobs and vagine, right? Kind of like broken English, very kind of, like, not even for, like, just straight up creepy shit that they would say to women. And is it because of that? Is it because like when you associate with Indian men, is it because you're just not physically attracted to them, or is it because you like subconsciously maybe we think of them as just creepy males because of how the media portrays Indian people? There's either super like IT nerds, geeks, super simps, or super creepy based on the whole Indian people on Facebook. I really want to know. I really want to know about that. But the good thing about I think kind of going on right now is I see a lot of that the kind of the Indian stereotypes ever so slowly changing. I think the biggest one is Kumail Nanjiani's fucking ripped like super jack body based on for his Marvel's Eternal movie, and goddamn, I'm hoping that changes the perspective of an Indian man. Maybe we can kind of finally be seen as Chads other than, or something, so finally be seen as something other than creepy Indian men or simpy Indian men or whatever, or IT geeks, right? So the narrative's changing, and that's an inspiration and good job for Kumail Nanjiani. I think he's hopefully slowly but surely breaking that narrative about Indian people. Or maybe this is me. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe there is no narrative, and I'm an idiot all this time. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, that's That's that. And honestly, with the new Delta variant, I'm just hoping we don't go back into lockdown. I cannot do any more of this. Like, I want to go back to the normal life of networking events and jujitsu. I know that's very first world problems, like, because like we have so much vaccine here. You have like other parts like in the Philippines where like I think their vaccination rates are in the single digits, or even parts of Africa where they can't even afford the vaccine. So I don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful for that. But I just don't want to go back to lockdown. I want to, kind of go back to doing the regular things, networking events, doing jiu-jitsu, sparring, and going back to the gym, stuff that I love to do. And hopefully I'll get back into shape and maybe I'll go on Love Island. No, I'm not going to go on Love Island. Yeah, so that's basically it. So prepare for the ASMR show coming on relatively soon. Like I said, this is going to be like a pilot project to see how it goes. If there's positive reception, I'm going to keep doing it. If not, I'll just take it off and we will end it at that. Yeah, so like I said, more podcasts coming up. Stay tuned for that. And I will talk to you very, very soon. Take care, guys and gals. And be safe. And just treat each other with basic fucking respect.